Speculation time. Okay, so with the release of The Acolyte, we were presented with a whodunit. But frankly, I don't give a shit about the murder mystery. What I'm interested in is why exactly Mae is hunting these four Jedi in particular. Because at first, it felt as though it was for revenge when she killed Master Indara. But when she moved on from Indara to, I forgot what his name is. He's the other Jedi Master. He has the scar on his face. When she moved on to him, he willingly drank the poison. Now, one of the things that Star Wars introduced in the sequel trilogy was the idea of dyads in the Force. Two individuals that are connected through the Force, whose Force bond allows them to do things that other individuals are unable to do. We saw that Rey and Kylo were essentially dyads in the Force, and then we know that on some level, Luke and Leia are also dyads in the Force. They're connected through their sibling bond. It's one of the reasons why no matter where they are, until Luke cut himself off from the Force, no matter where they were in the galaxy, they always knew that the other one was all right. The scaling of being a dyad is very wild. I'm talking One Punch Man wild, because you have a simple dyad connection in the form of Luke and Leia, but then you also have a ridiculously powerful dyad connection between Kylo and Rey, where they can pass physical objects between one another through their connection in the Force. I believe the Jedi did something a wee bit nefarious. And what I mean by that is, I think that the Jedi became aware of a dyad in the Force. They became aware of the fact that there were these two twin girls on this planet out there somewhere in the solar system, and they decided to go to that planet and retrieve those twins. Upon arriving in an attempt to retrieve those twins, they presented themselves before the family, and the family essentially said no. I think that a plan was hatched, a scheme was hatched, if you will, where the Jedi would cause some level of a kerfuffle, a brouhaha, a situation, if you will, where maybe, as they said, a fire was started, and that fire could be a thing that they could use to point to and say, see, look, because they don't have training in the Force, they need to be taken to the Jedi Temple where they can be trained properly. The idea was to take both of the children with them. However, something went horribly wrong. And when it went horribly wrong, the parents of both Mae and Osha essentially died, and Mae was essentially separated from Osha, and Jedi Master Saul took her back to Coruscant with him. They did not achieve their goal of basically obtaining this dyad and raising this dyad in the Force to serve the Jedi Order, which is what essentially causes Mae to spiral and join the dark side of the Force and go on this hunt. And one of the reasons why I typically say this is because it's not a shot against Disney, right? But for the most part, Disney has a thing, especially in regards to Star Wars, of taking things that happen in the sequels and applying them somewhere else. Where, let it be in the High Republic or on the Bad Batch or on the Mandalorian, as a way to basically reinforce the canon that the sequel basically laid down when they were released. So, is it highly probable that both of them were dyads in the Force? We already see the twin connection where she basically began seeing visions of her sister again, and then she saw visions of her sister one more time. But then there's a little bit of a funky thing that's happening, because if you remember in the episode, when she sees a vision of her sister basically run up the steps, she follows that, and it leads her to the Jedi Master who basically drank the poison and killed herself. But then when her sister sees her, she's shocked at the fact that she's alive, because she didn't know that she was alive. So it seems as though the dyad or the connection may be a wee bit lopsided. Think Voldemort in Order of the Phoenix, where basically he had a stronger connection looking into Harry's mind than Harry had looking into his mind until towards the end of the book when they were both able to share the information back and forth, and Harry was like, no. But that's basically it. That's my small little theory about about why exactly Mae is hunting the Jedi so fucking bad, and why it seems as though there's a level of guilt in part of the Jedi, because it seems as though you had Master Indara, who was on her own somewhere, no Padawan in sight. Then you had both the Jedi Master who drank the poison and the Wookiee Jedi Master who seems to have taken the Barash vow and are no longer a part of the Jedi Order proper, and Master Soul, who's no longer really going out on missions outside of Coruscant, and he's basically resigned himself to the temple, raising and training younglings. It seems as though all of these individuals are dealing with some level of guilt that caused two of them to leave the order and caused the other two to more or less scale down how much they operate inside of the order. But we'll see. Next week, Yule another episode, and when he use another episode, we will get the answers that we are looking for. But hey, if you agree with my little theory, comment below, let me know, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.